Last year, we took a look at some of the weirdest and funniest Cars board games out there. Mainly carified versions of pre-existing games that everybody knows and loves. But I soon realized that we barely scratched the surface. Not only are there more carified versions of pre-existing games out there, there are also a bunch of original Cars games that I didn't mention the first time around. So, it's time to dive back into the world of weird Cars board games and take a look at some more of them. Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Weird Products. Today, it's time for Weird Disney Cars Board Games, Part 2. Of all the games out there, the last one I expected to get a Cars version was Guess Who. Then again, in hindsight, I probably should have seen it coming. There have been several different licensed versions of Guess Who out there over the years, so of course there's a Cars version. Now, in the original Guess Who, you're given a bunch of different characters with different faces and appearances, so it's easy to try to guess the opponent's character based off of, oh, what's their hair color? Do they have facial hair? Do they have glasses? Etc., etc. When you're guessing Cars instead, it makes things a bit more difficult. The advantage Guess Who has is that all of the characters look pretty similar, so it makes it a bit of a challenge trying to guess who your opponent has. There are several people with glasses, there are several people with beards, but when you come to the Cars 2 edition, I guess you could ask questions like, oh, are they a World Grand Prix racer? Do they live in Radiator Springs? Etc. But from there, you're not really narrowing it down anymore. Then you just sort of have to go through every single character one by one until you conveniently land on who your opponent has. And don't even get me started on Tombe. If you waste a turn asking, is he a French informant, and your opponent says yes, then guess what? You just won. They have Tombe. Now look, you could go right ahead and call me out for not having creative enough questions for Cars 2 Guess Who, but before you do, the back of the box clearly also doesn't know what you're supposed to ask and expects you to ask based off of very specific characters. Here are the two sample questions they give you. Is he faster than fast? Does he love to say ka-chow? It's like the people who made the game didn't even know how you were supposed to ask questions about characters that weren't Lightning McQueen, and they do expect you to just fully go through every single character one by one and ask specific questions about them. Also, can we just bring up the fact that this game has a backstory? Rev up for a guess and race in Radiator Springs. Radiator Springs is full of pranksters who love to hide. Can you find your mystery auto? And then they ask the questions and they go, think you know who it is? Hit the gas and make your guess. If you were right, then win your race. There is no race, it's Guess Who! They do mention that it comes with scoring sliders, so I assume maybe the race is depicted there, like you move your car across spaces as you win more and more games. It's probably that. But yeah, this whole thing was an interesting choice, and honestly, I don't think it works as well as the original Guess Who. Just because here you have to ask, like, specifically about very specific characters instead of broad questions, narrowing it down. It removes a lot of the challenge of the original Guess Who, and also removes a lot of the fun, because now you're just asking petty questions. Is your car Owen Wilson? Was your car killed in the movie? Is your car using their Cars 1 artwork instead of their Cars 2 design? Man, we could have so much fun here. What I love about seeing all of these different Cars versions of board games is seeing how they slightly alter the rules of these classic games. Cars 2 Guess Who didn't do that. But Cars 2 Connect 4, now that does. Connect 4 is very simple. I don't need to explain it. The goal of the game is literally the name of the game. You've got to connect 4 pieces and stop your opponent from doing the same. Man, I just explained it. Well, whatever. Half the pieces have Mater stickers on them, and the other half have Finn. And just like Cars 2 Guess Who, this tries to give you a plot. The front of the box says, join the Cars crew in a covert mission to 4 in a row, and beware of the menacing minions. So this game's gimmick is that you could add a piece with a sticker of Acer on it, which I guess acts as some sort of blocker, but for whatever reason, they continually refer to him as The Menacing Minion. Here's the back, which has a game description slash plot synopsis. Steer around the menacing minions to drive 4 checkers in a row. Mater, Finn. Wait, sorry, this is a covert mission. I need a more intense voice. Mater, Finn, here's your mission. Race to make a line, upwards, sideways, or diagonally. This covert op won't be easy, with the menacing minion cruising to a new spot on each turn. Speed all the way to 4 in a row for the win. Yeah, okay, menacing minion is cool and all that. I really hope he appears in Despicable Me 4, but wouldn't it make more sense if, instead of the two teams being Mater and Finn, if they were Mater or Finn and then the other team was the Lemons, right? Because the whole point of Connect 4 is that you're competing against each other. You put the Lemons there as an additional obstacle and had Mater and Finn compete against each other. That's kinda weird. The amount of effort that they put into some of these is really, really lazy. And then you have Cars 2 Memory. Yeah, of all things, they went all out for a game that is literally flipping cards over until you find 2 with the same image on them. Cars 2 Memory is honestly really cute and takes that incredibly simple concept and just adds some fun Cars visual flair to it. And it also has a plot. As you can see, it takes place at Machin Motor Speedway, my favorite speedway. Rev your engine for a speedy match. Kickstart your memory as you try to match picture cards of your Cars 2 buddies. Very bold of you to assume that I'm buddies with the cast of Cars 2. I only hang out with the cast of the first Cars, thank you. Each match puts your car on a straight course for the finish line. It's Lightning McQueen against Francesco. No time for pit stops here. Zoom past the grandstand and win the checkered flag. And as you can see, you're not just flipping over cards. After you flip them over, you can stand them up in the grandstand and have them watch you race. Every time you find a match, you get to move your piece up a space until you reach the finish line. It adds absolutely nothing other than some fun Cars-themed visuals. It's a total gimmick. It's just adding the fun emotional response of turning matching cards into a race, but I think it's a pretty clever usage of the Cars license, and they really put a lot more effort into this than a lot of other Cars versions of games I've seen. I can't believe I'm being this positive towards Cars 2 Memory, and ooh, it's 93 cents off on eBay right now. I may just have to pick that up. Guys, I have a confession to make. I used to own this one. Luigi's Tire Tower. Judging from the box, this released in 2008, and it came with 10 rubber tires that actually had Lightyear logos on them, which is a pretty nice touch. It also came with plastic hooks that the back of the box labels as Mater hooks. Your goal is to pick up the tires with the hook and stack them on top of each other. I don't really remember playing this game all that much, but it's a pretty fun concept. I'm sure there are a ton of non-Cars versions out there, and it's always nice to see a Cars product that highlights a character that isn't McQueen or Mater. Good on Luigi for getting his own game. Up next, we have the Cars Speedy Race game, and is that a roulette wheel? Are we promoting gambling again? Oh, Disney. The only information I could find about this game comes from a website called Board Game Geek, which was nice enough to provide a description, which is good because the description on the box is in German. The description reads as follows. It's a fast-paced race with Lightning McQueen and his friends. Bring your favorite heroes at the finish line first and win the thrilling race. So clearly it wasn't translated back well from German. But be careful, several obstacles are awaiting you during the route before the winner can roll to the finish. This makes no sense. Each player chooses a pawn and places it in square 1. Okay, so that's 1, right? Some of these have numbers in them. Or is 1 the middle? Why is there a plastic McQueen piece on a tire, but all the other pieces are cardboard? And why is this kid acting like this is the coolest thing he's ever seen in his entire life? Each player chooses a pawn, and your turn, place Lightning McQueen at the center of the action platform and press it flat. Look as it turns and in what hole he randomly ends. Each of the 9 holes has a different action/power that you have to perform. The first player to cross the finish line wins. So you put McQueen in the inner circle and you move in the outer circle. Depending on where that McQueen lands, you have to do something different. I don't know, seems pretty complicated. Personally, I'd rather do some sports betting with Mickey. And finally, introducing Later Mater, a game from 2006 that goes for quite a bit of money online nowadays for some reason. What's the goal? Put Mater back together before he explodes. Yeah, that's right. This thing predicted Cars 2 before it even came out. This whole game is about making sure Mater doesn't explode all of his parts. As the back of the box says, race to put Mater back together, but don't just tool around. You have to be fast to beat the clock, because when his parts fly, it's time to say goodbye. Later, Mater. Wow, that got surprisingly dark. When his parts fly, it's time to say goodbye. You want to tone it back a little? This is a children's game. Man, Cars 2 didn't have the guts to kill Mater, but I guess this game did, huh? So Mater's raised up. It looks like he's on a jack, but that's all just built into his body. And you have to put his wheels back on, his bumper, his mirrors, etc. The box says that there are 3 different timer levels, and you can see the tow hook moving back and forth. I wonder if you set the timer, like, with the tow hook? I don't know. Maybe, like, when the tow hook moves, and when it hits a certain point, the Mater explodes. Let me see if I can find a video of this. Okay, so the fact that Mater Explodes board game came up is a little concerning. I guess I'm not the first person to look this up. You can see the game right here, but unfortunately I can't find anybody playing it. All I could find is this, and I'm pretty sure that isn't it. Okay, so I legit could not find a video of the Later Mater game, and I'm genuinely disappointed. I wanted to see how far the pieces, like, flew off of him. Probably not that far. They probably just fell off. I also wanted to see how the timer worked, if it were connected to the tow hook, but, you know, unfortunately, I don't have any footage, because no one's ever posted a review of that to YouTube. If you happen to own this game, please post a video of how it works. I would love to see it. I feel like I'm kind of cheating you guys out now, though, because I promised showing Mater exploding, and I didn't deliver. Unless... Oh no, we didn't fix him in time. Later, Mater! Well, you know what they say. When his parts fly, it's time to say goodbye. So, I guess I will. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Weird Products, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now. Whoa.